Hello everyone and welcome back to John Builds. Okay, as you can see I've got the brand new build of the U.S.S. Constitution on the desk today. So I've just spent the last hour just making up the first rib that I'm going to be using in this quite an epic, probably 2 or 3 year build. So I built and filmed that for myself, so I kind of know exactly what I'm doing, and now I'm going to obviously build and film the next one to kind of show you in a step-by-step guide. So, like I say, this is just a rib 4. I'll just put this to one side a second. Okay, so we get these sections of laser cut parts, and it tells you instructions to label all the parts you need. So if I was yourself, I'd just kind of label just on the outer edges of the parts you're going to need, rather than actually write it on the cells. If you do want to write it on some point, if you want to write obviously the 1.21, and then you can write it on this little support, because they're going to get cut off later on. But myself personally, I don't really need to write them on individually, because I'm going to individually take the parts out and then lay them onto the plan. So video, I'm going to be building rib number 6 next. So it tells me I need 1.22, I need 2 of them, I need this 1.21. Okay, so there's 2 of the parts there, and then there's the other part on this one here. So I'm just going to take one of my knife. So it should be easy enough to do, but I'm just going to use a larger crafting knife just to take these sections out. So pretty much all you should really have to do is just punch it on the top, turn it over, kind of where you can see the part still joined. Kind of just punch it on that. And then just keep doing it until eventually it'll just drop out. And it does drop out. Like I say, same thing. Sometimes they're going to drop out almost instantly, and then sometimes they're going to be a bit more tricky. So I've got the first part out, and then I'll just work on taking out the section of the rib. I'll say quite a nice satisfying pop on that one. That one's dropped out. Just look for the score mark, or the part where it's just slightly attached, and then hopefully sometimes we just pop it and it will drop out. Okay, so I brought the plan across. I'm just going to offer these up just to start with, just to kind of check the fit. Okay, so this is the U.S.S. Constitution, and you can kind of build it in 2 different ways. You can build it with the enclosed hull, which obviously is going to look really nice. But I've built quite a few ships over the years, and I've always had an enclosed hull. So I quite like the version of this where you get to see all the ribs, internal ribs. It's very much like an Admiralty board model, and I actually quite fancy that this time. Is, like I say, it's going to be quite a lot of work, but then again, there's not the work of having to do all the planking, but there's going to be a bit more work where we've got to prepare all these ribs to start with. Yeah, so it's pretty much how they come out the laser cutter, where they've got all this black charring on it. So you've got no choice really but to sand it off. So we've got a couple of options. I mean, there is a third option that I'm going to use when I get my workshop up and running. That's going to use an oscillating sander, but at the minute I'm just going to use a good old-fashioned hand sander, and then I've just got this little drum sander. It's got a little drum wheel attachment that I can actually use for the internals. So yeah, I'm just going to start off with a 120 grade. It's just going to be a little bit of labour of love. Okay, so that's quite a weak point. So when you're sanding something like that, kind of put a little bit like your finger behind it, just to kind of take some of the pressure of the sander. So like I said, it is that, or you can use the drum sander. But it's just one of them jobs that you've, if you're doing the open hull version, it's a job that you've just got to do. So it's just a case of the more work you put in now, the better the finish of the model will be. Okay, so I spent about 15-20 minutes just cleaning up all these internal and external faces of the hull. I'm just running the insides with the file. I'm not going too extremes, because as long as they're actually just going to glue together, so that's not really a massive issue. Okay, so if you're new to model shipbuilding, one of the things that I would recommend you pick up is you pick up some of these tack cloths. I've had these, been using these for 25 years. Really good. Like I say, it does exactly what it says on the tin. It's a tacky cloth, but as you can see, you can kind of take up all the dirt off your cutting mat, but not really meant for that. What they are really meant for is actually just after you've sanded apart, taking up all the fine sawdust off your parts, and that's what you need really for gluing and painting. So yeah, just get yourself some of these tacky cloths. Okay, so I've sanded the internal edge, and now I'm going to kind of concentrate on this bottom part. Okay, so like I say, I'm building this kind of my way. I'm not following the instructions. Well, I will follow instructions, but mainly just as a reference. So these are the support legs that actually get glued. That gets glued into keel, and then these get glued into the jig. So I don't actually want these on. I'm going to use them, but I don't actually want them attached to the ribs at the minute. So I'm actually going to cut them off now, and then I'll show you in the next build exactly how I will be using them. So all I'm going to do is just going to take my little blade off the junior hacksaw, and I'm just going to get rid of them. Like I say, once you've kind of gone all the way through, it'll just snap off. So like I say, save that. That's why I've wrote the number on it. We'll smooth this edge off. We'll smooth the edge, and then we will actually mount it to the jig. But I'm just going to I'll show you, like I say, I'll show you in the next video. That's exactly how I'm going to mount them. So that's why I'm taking them off now. But if this is your first model, and I just follow the instructions. But now I can completely clean all this bottom edge. Okay, so that's internally been sanded and externally sanded. So now I've brought the plan back over, room number 6, and we can just start to kind of lay these out and just have a look how they fit. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to kind of already pre-cut this this bottom deck and then this second deck. So I'm going to put it onto the plan, and I'm just going to take my pencil. I'm just going to mark it on that edge. This is the 4x4 that came in the pack. So what I'm going to do, bring across my little mitre block, get my little razor saw, just get it on the mark, and then just cut it. So save that piece because I'll cut like one of the smaller ribs. So that's that part for there. And then I'm going to go up one to this next deck above. Same again, just mark that right on the edge. And then same again, just cut that on the little mitre block. Okay, so we can move that out of the way. So now we can start to do a little bit of assembly. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to leave that as a floating one. I'm going to glue that in, and that will keep all the parts rigid straight away. So don't really, I know in the instructions it tells you to glue it onto this kind of user paper, but because we've got these decks in already, there's no real place for it can go. It can't be made too wide, or it can't be made too narrow, because it's pretty much going to marry up to where you've cut your planks, and I just think it's a better way. Okay, so get us 5 pieces. So I'm going to be using this Evo stick wood glue. It's just one I happen to have at the time. I tend to use Gorilla Glue, but I just happen to have this Evo stick this time. I think there's some white glue you get in the kit, but any white glue is good. So I put it into this little metal container about half an hour ago. So what it's actually done now is I actually just started to get a bit of a skin. So it tends to go off a lot quicker if you leave it half an hour, just to kind of just firm up a little bit. So all I'm going to do is just going to paint a little bit on this edge. A little bit on that edge. Don't really need to put any on that because there's plenty when they squeeze together, and then just clean that edge up a touch. And then put a little bit around this edge of the smaller one. Okay, so I'm going to bring all these parts together. So I'm just going to just squeeze that part in. Squeeze that part in. And then I'm just going to take this part for the bottom deck and I'll squeeze that part in. As you can tell now already, just by having that bottom deck in, that can pretty much be moved around in an almost complete structure. Let's squeeze that down, and then this last piece, the deck, we're just going to put this one above it, and then we're just going to close that in, but we're not actually going to glue that, that's just going to be floating. But that's what I'm saying, is that's why really we're having these decks in, that you don't really have to worry about it being on the plan, because there's nowhere for it to go. It can only be pushed into the limits, as long as you cut that to the right length, and then all these can just be pushed in together. Okay, so that can be left pretty much like that, just to fully dry. So then just where you've got a little bit of your glue joints, just run a little bit of your paintbrush over, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of masking tape and just put it onto that rib that's not glued in, otherwise that'll just fall out. Just give them a couple of final squeezes, and then that can be left for 10-15 minutes. Okay, so that's had 15 minutes to dry. Like I said, ideally I'd leave it all day. If I was building, wasn't filming this, I'd kind of leave this to one side now and go and work onto the next one. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a little bit of this masking tape, put it onto that central block, and then I'm just going to write on number 6. So now I know that is rib number 6. Okay, because this is going to be the open hull version. Literally all I want to do with this is just enhance the beauty of the wood. I don't want to stain it, I don't want to put anything of it, I just want to enrich it. So all I'm going to do is just use a linseed oil. What I'm going to do first is just clean up the joins where I've glued it. Like I say, we've got grain going that way, and then grain kind of going off to the side. So where possible, always try and follow the grain. So there is a slight rib there, just a bit of a. I also wanted the rib is slightly bigger than that bottom section, but I'm not too worried about that. Once this is fully dried, I will actually probably fair it in a bit more, but I won't do that a little bit later on. So all I'm doing now is just using a 240 grade. Turn it over. And just using that tack cloth again. Get rid of the just the excess sawdust. Just clean your area. Like I say, that's perfectly flat. That's had no weights on it and nothing. That's pretty much just using the ribs to kind of bring it all together. So all I'm going to do now is take a little bit of this little bit of grease-proof paper. Just going to put it on the mat, and I'm just going to bring over some linseed oil. This is really old linseed oil, and I'm just using quite a nice brush. Get rid of these for the time being. So I'm not going to paint that one, don't need that one painting. I'm just going to paint all the rest, but I'm just going to keep it in just for the second. And then you can just see, you'll see this on camera, just how much it enriches the wood. You can see it just transforming it. It's quite nice as you can see it transform in front of your eyes. And like I say, this will do nothing but enhance the wood. Like I say, personal choice. You can kind of do whatever you want, but I just think it just looks nicer with a nice oil. Could varnish it, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't use a gloss varnish. But yeah, maybe a matte varnish. But yeah, I just personal choice. I think the way to go is a nice oil. Take it on its side, and you want to get in between the decks. Tempted to dip it then, but there's plenty on. Wouldn't normally paint that, and I'll show you why in the next build, but yeah, I'm just painting it just for the purposes of the video. But yeah, you can see a massive difference from this side to that side. Just do the same on the other side. And then just go around and then just take off any of the excess oil. I would normally use a lint-free cloth, but since I'm in the process of getting my workshop built, I don't know where it is. So yeah, just take it off with the paintbrush, or the excess. You can see it. If there's too much on the top, you can see it. Okay, so that's pretty much one rib made up already and prepared to be fit into the keel, and even going forward there's pretty much nothing we should have to do to them at all, because like I say, most of this, and I think until probably get up to the higher decks, all this will just be visible. So pretty much all the preparation has been done now, all been sanded and all been sealed. Okay, so I wanted to kind of do this video like this, so I don't have to show you how to do a rib again. Pretty much every rib that I'll do now from the bow to the stern will be almost virtually the same, so literally I can kind of refer to this video as a reference guide for you all to kind of watch. If you wanted to make it my way and you want to do it, or you're doing the open hull version. If you're not doing the open hull version, then pretty much just well, it's entirely up to you. You can kind of do it just so you can kind of enhance your own skills, or you can just leave it pretty much black, because you won't see it, to be fair. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like I said, the next video I will show you the keel, but I won't show you any sanding because it's literally exactly how I sanded this one, but I will show you how to attach the frames, and I will show you the purpose of why I cut these off, and I will be using them later in the build. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you like what you saw. Like I say, hopefully in the next couple of months I'll be moving into a purpose-built workshop where I'm going to have I'll have forward-facing cameras and 3 or 4 different cameras for different angles. So yeah, at the minute just a little bit limited. So I've had this Pack 1 for quite some time, and I was quite keen to kind of make a start. Okay, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.